Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, by now, I know you all recognize this sweet face on the screen. This is Michael, otherwise known as Little Monkey. He has a deep place in my heart. Summer Wells and Michael Vaughan were my first two cases on this channel, and they're two little souls, two sweet children that I think about every day. And I may not talk about them on the channel all the time, but I think about Michael daily, and I pray for his family and him every night. It breaks my heart that we don't have answers and we don't know what happened to this sweet, innocent child. And my heart breaks even more for his family. Seeing Brandy and Tyler going through all this, and I can't relate to that kind of feeling, and I know it's not something that I don't think any of us ever wants to go through, having a loved one abducted from us, taken away from us. And I hope to God that no one else has experienced it as well. That said, there is a bit of an update on his case, and it comes out of the Argus Observer, and I'm going to go through the article because while it's not really an answer yet, it's hope. It's coming. The answers are coming, and justice is coming for this sweet child. And when I read this yesterday, I was really glad to hear it. Okay, again, this is the Argus Observer. And there's a well-known photo of sweet Michael. That was the main photo for those that have been following this case for a while that we saw of Michael on the first missing posters. But the good news is the prosecutor is telling us on the investigation he expects to charge it. And you know what? He's expecting to charge it soon. And like I've said before, and I'm going to continue to say right now, nothing ever happens quickly when it comes to justice, when it comes to these cases. Nothing, unfortunately, ever comes quickly. It's not like an episode of, I like to always say, an episode of Law and Order SVU or CSI, where everything is answered in that hour window, which is really probably like 42 minutes or whatever. But it's not answered that quickly. We don't get the justice and the answers that we want that quickly. And it sucks. But you know what? I would rather see them, this DA's office, this law enforcement team that has been relentless for Michael and his family, do the right things, handle this the correct way, and make sure that things are secured and tight before they start that clock. Now, let me just go through the article real quick. Again, this is the Argus Observer. I will post a link to the article in the information of the video. The public may soon know a portion of the outcome of a law enforcement investigation related to missing Fruitland boy Michael Monkey Vaughan, as the prosecutor does expect to file charges, but is not stated what those might be. I expect to charge it, but there's a lot of complexities, and I am being careful with that, Payette County Prosecutor Mike Duke told the Argus Observer during a phone call at the end of September. In the last couple of days, supporters of Michael's family have begun to echo what Duke said. This includes an update from the administrators on a Facebook page previously dedicated to information regarding Michael, who was last seen in his neighborhood on July 27th, 2021, when he was 5 years old. The recommended charges and reports have gone to the prosecutor and they are waiting for the grand jury, it reads. It appears charges are forthcoming in the near future. As for Sarah Wandra, she was sentenced on an unrelated charges and will remain in custody at this time. It is unknown as to whether she is included in the grand jury file. The Argus Observer has a request for a comment pending with Duke related to the statements about the grand jury. On Monday afternoon, an official at the Fayette County Courthouse said there are currently no grand jury hearings on the court calendar. Those hearings are set at the request of the prosecutor, with court officials setting the hearings on the calendar in conjunction with the judge's calendar. Now, what I will say, what I do know about grand jury, they are very secretive, and we may never know. Well, we're not going to know. Really, I'm not necessarily sure that the Fayette County Courthouse would tell, even the media, that they had a grand jury hearing scheduled. They are very, very tight-lipped on those proceedings, and unless they get through them and they recommend charges be filed and the DA files them, the public, including the media, tends to not know anything until that happens. Now, as far as the Facebook page, I'm a member of the Facebook page for Michael, and that is his family's, page. Brandy's on there quite frequently, and if you're not on there, I highly recommend joining that page if you are on Facebook. The Facebook page dedicated to Michael has had some changes in the past few days, with Administrator Brooke Amber posting about those updates on Sunday, stating they had been discussed with Michael's mother, Brandy Neal, as well. The name of the page has been changed to Monkeys Missing Children Project of Idaho. Here's the thing. Michael's mother, Brandy, she's an amazing advocate, not only for her son, but for missing children everywhere. She knows how many days Summer Wells has been missing. And you know what? Her father Don and mother Candace, they have no idea. And she knows about all these other missing children out there. And obviously there's way too many. Way too many missing. And I do love her dedication, and the fact that she's going to focus on Idaho, that is wonderful, and I know that it's going to be a great, great thing. We need that. We need that out there, and I know that that Monkey would be proud of his mama. That I know. It states that Michael is still priority for the page, but it's being now opened up to all missing and endangered children in Idaho only. It will include children from Idaho who are believed to have been taken outside the state or from another state believed to be in Idaho. Thank you all for your patience throughout all this, especially during the quieter times, she reads the post. Keep praying for justice and closure for Michael. Again, I think that's amazing that Brandy is, and I'm sure Tyler, he may be a little quieter, but we all know Tyler is all in as well, and as well as the rest of the family. I think it's amazing that she's going to be able to use, this family is going to use this reach that they've established and to help others, just like Michael in Idaho. And I'm going to see if I can do my part and do some coverage through that as well. So, and as always, if you have a missing person, I may not be covering one every video anymore, but let me know. You can always comment on a video or drop me an email, and I will definitely do a video on it. Now they're going to talk about the suspects a bit, which we've discussed here before on the channel. Currently, nobody's in custody or facing charges. related to the disappearance of Michael, who was last seen at age 5 near his Fruitland neighborhood. But we know some of these folks who are the suspects / persons of interest. Now, Sarah Wondra was one of 4 people initially named by law enforcement officials as a suspect in Michael's case, with Wondra once facing a charge for failing to report the death of a person, namely Michael. Remember when they showed up at the Wondra's home, which was actually owned by her parents? And she said, "Oh, I don't know anything about it, and God told me this, God told me that, and my husband did it," and all these insane things, definitely she's not all there, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think that she doesn't know what she's doing. She was the only suspect who had been arrested and ended up going to a state hospital for a mental evaluation before heading to court over charges. In March, Wondra was deemed fit for trial, and however, in mid-April, the Fayette County prosecutor ended up dismissing the case without prejudice, meaning it can be brought to trial again. Yeah, I personally believe her name, Stacy Wondra, her husband, as well as there's 2 others that are listed that we're about to talk about briefly here. I think they're all on these charging documents that are going to hit the grand jury. I completely believe that. Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff provided his investigation to Duke sometime in July, having publicly announced he'd done so on the 2-year anniversary of Michael's disappearance. Yeah, we're talking, this is what? We're getting toward the end of October. So, it's like I said, it's hard. It's so hard. For us to be waiting, and I have to think if it's hard for someone like me and the rest of you listening, how hard is it for Brandy? How hard is it for Tyler? How hard is it for the siblings? Obviously, some of them are too young necessarily, but the family. How hard is it for them? And I know it's really hard for Police Chief Huff and his team because they're all just as invested in this, and they've done the work. They've done the work. They are the experts, and they've put everything into this. And as much as this hurts to be waiting, I'm glad that they're being very, very careful. I really am. Other suspects previously named include Wondra's husband, Stacy Wondra, as well as Adrian Lucene and Brandon Shirtliff, who were once said to be living with the couple during Michael's disappearance. Stacy Wondra remains in custody, awaiting a federal trial for a gun charge in a case that is not related to Michael or his wife's gun case. So yeah, remember Brandon? He did that hot tub with his beer interview with JLR. Showed a bit of it here on a previous video. You can check that out on my playlist for Michael Monkey's playlist. He's an odd duck, and then you have Adrian. Both of them, I trust them about as far as I could throw a ball. But the bottom line is, all of these 4, and Chief Huff put all their photos up. Remember that presser? He put all of their photos up. Those are the 4 main persons of interest in Michael's abduction. Are there more? Yeah, I think there probably are. I nothing surprises me at this point. Now, as far as Sarah Wondra is concerned, Wondra was sentenced on October 6th for 2 felony charges in an unrelated case regarding a firearm. For the first count, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or instrument. Looks like Judge Keely Stutlicht, I'm saying that name horribly wrong, I apologize to the judge, sentenced her to 3 years determinate, 2 years indeterminate with the Idaho Department of Corrections and related fees. The second count was for evidence destruction, alteration, or concealment. For that, the judge sentenced Wondra to no determinate time, but 2 years of indeterminate time, giving credit of 228 days for time already served. Ooh, looks like she's got overall fines associated with the case. $8,088. think that's going to take her a lot of side work when she gets out of jail, if she ever does, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. A third charge for possession of controlled substance was dismissed on the motion of the prosecutor. In this case, Wanderer also faces a federal charge of unlawful possession of a firearm. According to court documents, this is because she had previously been convicted of a Class A felony, punishable for a term exceeding 1 year, namely attempted robbery. A jury trial for that case is set for December 4th at 1:30 p.m. in the U.S. Courthouse in Boise. A trial readiness conference is slated for November 21st. So the good news is Sarah's not going anywhere, and Stacy's not going anywhere either. He's been sitting behind bars for a while, and I know they've talked to him, I'm sure, or they've attempted to talk to him, but that's the thing. As hard as it is for us to be waiting, as this waiting game goes, and I know it's not a game, but as this whole waiting situation goes, let me put it that way. They have the DA's office knows that the Wanderers are secure in their hard cots behind bars, so they're not going anywhere. So that gives them plenty of time to make sure all their T's are crossed, all their I's are dotted. And as far as Brandon and Adrian, I'm sure they have a good idea where they are. I'm sure law enforcement knows. I know they have a good idea where Brandon is. He tends to kind of stick his face out every so often anyway, from what we see. But right now, I think it's good news that the prosecutor is very, very, very positive that we're going to have charges very soon. Like I said, that just because the Argus Observer states that they haven't seen any grand jury dates on the calendar, well, that doesn't really mean much now. I don't think. In my opinion, it doesn't, because they're so secretive that I'm not saying they already met, but do you think that, again, do you think they're going to tell us? I don't even think they're going to tell, like, Law and Crime or Court TV. I mean, heck, this is something that they're going to get done in secret, get them to make their decision, and then they're going to come out and make a big announcement, and boom. Hopefully there's charges for 4 or more individuals in this case. And I think those 4 that have been mentioned from those time that they searched the Wanderer home, I think all 4 of them are responsible in some way. All 4 of them. And I do think there's going to be more. But again, this is good news. We are inching toward it. Hopefully, by the year's end. Of course, sooner would be better. We'll have some charges and start getting some answers and justice for Sweet Monkey. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And as always, don't forget to hug your family. I always think of that when I talk about cases with Monkey or Summer or any of these other babies. I hope you have a great rest of the day and stay safe.